It's like the world just stopped, and it's like, okay, this is what we've been wanting to hear all this time.
These grieving grandparents speaking for the first time today about the charges they have been waiting more than a year for. Former Chandler mom Lori Vallow and her new husband Chad Daybell are now charged with the murders of her two children, JJ and Tylee. Daybell also charged in the murder of his first wife. Both were in court today on those first-degree murder charges. And Kim Powell has more from Idaho.
This memorial for JJ and Tylee is right across the street from where their bodies were found in Chad Daybell's backyard. For JJ and Tylee's grandparents, they say that this has been a roller coaster of emotions. On one hand, yesterday would have been JJ's 9th birthday, so they're obviously and understandably upset that he's not here with them. On the other hand, they're thrilled to finally see some charges come down.
And you can almost take a breath. And you know now it's real.
Kay and Larry Woodcock have said for the last year and a half, they're in a marathon. They were the ones who sounded the alarm after not hearing from their grandson, 7-year-old JJ, for months. His mother, Lori Vallow, started ignoring the requests to talk to him. At the time, they didn't even know she moved from Arizona to Idaho. After issuing a welfare check, Lori lied to police and then moved to Hawaii with her new husband, Chad Daybell. That's according to court documents. All of this sparked a massive investigation that gripped the nation. And it ultimately led to JJ and his sister Tylee's bodies being found buried in Chad's backyard in Idaho.
I think it's time for one of them to start singing like a canary.
Now, almost a year after the bodies were found, a grand jury indicted Lori and Chad on conspiracy and first-degree murder charges.
Every little major step has meant something positive. But I think yesterday was that significant step forward where the grand jury has spoken.
Chad and Lori both briefly appeared in front of a judge this morning, but Lori's initial appearance got pushed back to a future date.
Based upon the information that was provided to the court is going to continue this initial appearance based upon the information that was provided to me, and we will set this for a time and date certain in the future.
Still, Kay and Larry say they're ready to continue on this marathon, as there is still a lot to learn.
I've said from the beginning that there's more people involved in this than just Chad and just Lori, by far. And if you're going to convict those two, then there's other people that need to be brought to account.
Kay and Larry say next on their radar is Chandler, Arizona. That's where Charles Vallow, Kay's brother and Lori's previous husband, that's where he was shot and killed right before the kids disappeared. Reporting in Idaho, I'm Kim Powell for Arizona's Family.
Mother and her husband, each facing a first-degree murder charge. Chad and Lori Daybell were slapped with several new charges today. They all stem from the deaths of Lori's children, Tylee and JJ. The kids went missing right after their mother moved them from Chandler up to Idaho. Investigators found the siblings buried in the backyard of her new husband, Chad Daybell, in June.
The grand jury also indicted the couple in the death of Tammy Daybell. She was Chad's wife who mysteriously died around the time the children went missing and just before Chad and Lori got married. This is a story that's made headlines all over the country.
And the investigation has taken us from the Valley to Hawaii to Idaho. Our team coverage on today's major developments begins with our Kim Powell, the only local reporter in the room as these murder charges were announced today. She's live for us in Idaho tonight. Kim?
Yeah, this was a major development in this case. Everyone leading up to this case always asks us, when are Lori and Chad going to face murder charges? Well, today they were indicted on murder charges as well as conspiracy charges.
The unprecedented cooperation among law enforcement has been remarkable, and every person who has worked on this case is to be commended for their diligence and steadfast pursuit of the facts.
It's a case that gripped the nation. Lori Vallow, a seemingly perfect mother, lied to police about where her kids, JJ and Tylee, were after they disappeared in September 2019. Then she secretly moved to Hawaii with her new husband, Chad Daybell, all while everyone else was asking, where are JJ and Tylee? It's been almost 1 year since their bodies were found buried in Chad's backyard. And Chad and Lori have been sitting in jail cells in Idaho for more than a year on charges of destroying evidence, and now they've been indicted for murder.
Members of the grand jury deliberated and determined there is probable cause to believe the Daybells willfully and knowingly conspired to commit several crimes that led to the death of 3 innocent people.
3 innocent people: 7-year-old JJ, 17-year-old Tylee, and Tammy Daybell, Chad's previous wife, who died at her home in October 2019.
Chad Daybell was also indicted on 2 counts of insurance fraud related to life insurance policies he had on Tammy Daybell, for which he was the beneficiary and received funds after her death.
According to the indictment, Chad increased Tammy's life insurance shortly before her death. Also in the court paperwork, Lori and Chad are accused of cashing in on JJ and Tylee's Social Security funds.
We believe the crimes occurred on or about October 26th of 2018 to January 15th of 2020 in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, and elsewhere, including Madison County.
All of these charges come on what would have been JJ's 9th birthday.
It's his birthday. It's JJ's birthday today. And what a tragedy.
There's a memorial on the fence across the street from the Daybell property for JJ and Tylee.
To think that they were out there.
In this small eastern Idaho community, everyone has been anxiously awaiting these new charges.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
What is going on? And I'm so wanting to know what happened to Tammy.
Tammy's parents and siblings released this statement tonight, saying in part, "First, we'd like to extend our continued love and heartfelt sympathy to the families of Tylee and JJ. Words cannot adequately express the depths of loss and pain that they are suffering, but we hope they know that they are not alone, and we grieve and hold a place in our hearts with them at this time." Now, JJ and Tylee's grandparents, who we've been talking to throughout this whole investigation, they're here in Idaho tonight, but of course they're understandably too upset and overwhelmed with today's news, so they haven't made a comment just yet. Reporting live in Idaho, I'm Kim Powell for Arizona's Family.
And no doubt, though, Kim, this is the day that they have been waiting for. And tonight begins a new chapter in this tragic case. It is going to focus on legal wrangling. Lots of questions are unanswered at this point. The big one, of course, what direct evidence do prosecutors have that connects Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell to these murders? Our chief investigative reporter, Morgan Lowe, is in the newsroom for us tonight. And Morgan, you've been following all of this as well. Does that indictment tell us whether prosecutors have a strong case at this point?
Heather, it does not tell us much of anything about the case, aside from the fact that prosecutors believe they have enough to get convictions, and they convinced a grand jury there was enough evidence to move forward.
It was almost a year ago that investigators descended on Chad Daybell's Idaho property and found the remains of JJ and Tylee.
We still don't have any hard evidence that links Chad and Lori to any of these deaths. Is this going to be a hard case to prove for prosecutors?
We don't actually know what the evidence is that the prosecutors have.
Rich Robertson is the private investigator who was hired in the fall of 2019 to try to find Tylee and JJ. He looked over today's indictment and says he was surprised to see Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell charged in Tammy Daybell's death.
We've been waiting to see if there was any evidence that she was murdered, because everything up to this point was that she died of natural causes.
The indictment doesn't mention much about actual evidence, but it does reference some text messages between Lori and Chad.
Does this suggest that there's more of this electronic evidence that may directly tie them to these crimes?
Yes, there's going to be text message exchanges, voicemails, computer messages potentially, but it's a combination of all of those things that causes cases to come together.
We will likely not see much of that evidence unless and until this case makes it to trial. But we will find out within 60 days if prosecutors will seek the death penalty. Jared.
Vallow, charged with murdering her 2 children, is facing another serious charge: conspiracy to kill her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. This case is now in the hands of prosecutors. Fox 10's Justin Lum spoke to Lori Vallow's nephew, who had a sense that her life was spiraling out of control. Justin joins us live.
And John, what a critical week it has been for Lori Vallow. First off, indicted by a grand jury, like you said, accused of murdering her 2 children, JJ and Tylee. But back here in the Valley, after almost 2 years, Chandler detectives have submitted their own case against Vallow to the MCAO. But do prosecutors have enough evidence to get her charged?
She needs help. Yeah. She needs some serious help.
In January 2019, Charles Vallow, then husband of Lori Vallow, pleaded with Gilbert police to help get his wife mentally evaluated.
I should have done more back then. Everyone in the family hated Charles. No one was talking to him, answering his calls.
Lori's nephew, Zach Cox, stayed with her and his cousins, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, for a period of time. He says even back in 2017, Lori, a devout member of the Mormon Church, was a big fan of doomsday fictional author Chad Daybell, who lived in Idaho. By February 2019, Charles filed for divorce, claiming his wife believed she was a god who would murder him with her powers, according to court documents. By summer, Zach says Charles asked for help to record Lori making these statements for her bishop to hear.
Charles thought if he could get her excommunicated from the church, she wouldn't be able to go to the temple anymore, which she loved going to the temple, and she'd snap out of it.
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
July 11th, 2019, Charles is shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. Alex accused Charles of hitting him in the head with a baseball bat during a fight. Zach and other family members found out about the shooting on the news. He never bought the self-defense claim and wishes he spoke to Tylee about what really happened.
I could just tell that she wanted to say something about what happened on Thursday. And she started walking towards me, and my grandma kind of like guided her shoulders and walked her out. And that was the last time that I saw Tylee.
Not competent to proceed with her current cases, but prosecutors want to contest those findings. Live at MCAO, Justin